Sleep tracking with your Apple Watch is nothing new. It's been around since the very first one. There was third-party apps, then Apple released their own, and now Apple continues to improve on that. So we're going to talk about how to sleep track and what all does it do. Let's talk about how do you actually set up sleep tracking on the Apple Watch. So first off, you want to actually go into the Health app. You'll want to find that sleep option, and you won't actually see any of this. You probably will just see something that I can get to down here. If I go into sleep again, it will probably give you the option right away. I've already had it set up, but I can just turn on sleep schedule right here. And then I have my full sleep schedule. So I can edit this. This is my Monday through Friday. Yeah, I'm sleeping until 9 a.m. right now. It's the summer. Normally I wake up way earlier. I'm usually up by like 6 o'clock. And then on Sunday, I wake up earlier for church because I help out with running our live stream. So I have that one as a separate sleep schedule. So once you have all this set up, everything's in there. You're good to go. You can set up your wind down. So basically this is when the watch face will start turning off and let you know, hey, it's ready to go to bed. And then you can also set your sleep hour goal. So you can actually set that yourself. If you think you do better at 7 hours, you can set it to that. If you think you do better at 9 hours, you can set it to that. I stick with the regular 8 hours for all that. You can also get sleep reminders. So it will send a notification saying, hey, it's ready for sleep. So you set your bedtime. So I got the 2 bedtimes right there, and 15 minutes before that will be my wind down. But I can increase it, reduce it, and basically your screen turns off just to kind of let you know, because obviously Apple tries to do that whole blue light, trying to reduce your blue light. So that's why the screen turns off during that time. And obviously you don't want the screen on when you are actually sleeping. So you can also edit this. Once you have it all set up, you can go into the clock app on the phone. This is where I usually control this and change any schedule. So all I have to do is hit change, and then you can move this around. And obviously it's going to turn a different color if you're not hitting your sleep goal, just to warn you, hey, you're not going to hit your sleep goal if you wake up too early. So, but you have all that control. And when you go to edit it, you can pick for just that one time, or you can change your schedule all in here. You can set which alarm goes off, and you can set up how long that snooze duration will last. I think normally it's 9 minutes. I reduced it. I'm actually going to reduce it a little bit longer, because for me, normally if I'm snoozing, it's because I was so in my sleep zone that I hit it without even fully realizing. So I want to make sure that I don't get deep into that sleep zone again before it tries to wake me up. And you can also always play it on the phone as well if you want to. But that's how I usually go in and change anything from day to day. I don't have to go back into the Health app. I just access it from the clock, which is really nice that Apple puts it right in there. So Apple recently updated the sleep score system. So you can see right here, my sleep last night was fairly awful. It was a very low score of 55. And you're probably wondering, how do they calculate that score? So basically, the way it works is your sleep duration, you get 50 points. Bedtime consistency, another 30 points. And then the interruptions are 20 points. You can see all that data right there. So last night, my duration was pretty bad. So I only got 27 of the 50 points. My bedtime was not consistent. I stayed up way too late. So I only got 19 of those 30. And then the interruptions, I had 9 out of 20. So it was not a good night's sleep for me at all. But luckily for me, I can go back and look at past nights, and some of these are a little bit better. Some are also still low. Some are high, which is great. I have a couple. Look at that. I've actually been doing pretty well. But there are some things that you can do to make sleep tracking with your Apple Watch better. First off, if you're actually sleep tracking with the Apple Watch Ultra, you and me are kindred spirits, because so many people are like, you really sleep track with that big of a watch? I honestly do. I do have a Series 11 currently. I've sent it back into Apple for downgrading. There's a video on that. I'll put it in the comments down below. I can sleep with pretty much anything on my wrist at this stage. But one thing that I do recommend, if you're going to sleep track with your Apple Watch, you want to get a good band. And the 2 that I have here are probably the best band options that you can get for sleep tracking. First off, this is the solo braided loop. I believe both of these come in at $100, sadly. You can find some third parties a little bit cheaper, but I really do like these and really do recommend them. I've had both of these for years and they work really well and they've held up amazing. So the braided solo loop, I've always referred to this one as the sweatpants of Apple Watch bands because it is just incredibly comfortable. Like, you cannot find another band like this. Now, they do have the regular loop bands that you can get as well. This is the trail loop, I believe is what this one's called, for the Ultra. And I just like this one way more just because of how thin and lightweight it is. I've just personally never been a fan of the Sport Loop band. I've tried it. It's thick. It itches. Maybe it's just me, but that band just bothers me like crazy. But basically, you just put on one of these and it's just so much nicer when you sleep. This band just is so much more comfortable. And of course, this one is the most comfortable band Apple has ever made. But there's a good chance you may have one of these already if you bought the Ultra. And if not, you can find these on eBay a lot cheaper as well. Both of these bands, even for legitimate ones. But let's go back to that sleep score. So how all does that work? Well, a very low sleep score is 0 to 40. A low sleep score, 41 to 60. Okay sleep score is 61 to 80. A high is 81 to 95, and a very high, something that I don't think I've received yet, is a 96 or more. So 96 to 100. But basically, the Apple recently just changed this. They modified those numbers and made it what they consider more accurate. But there are some things that you can actually do to just help yourself. Because obviously, if you have a low sleep score, you're probably better off not knowing that you have a low sleep score, especially if you're doing okay, because mentally there's so much that goes on that can just make it worse. Because I don't know about you, but if I've had a rough night's sleep and I know that my watch is telling me you had a rough night's sleep, then I'm just going to feel worse than I did if it didn't tell me. So there are some ways to just kind of turn off those notifications depending on how well your sleep did. Now, obviously, if you only turn off one, then you don't get a notification. You're going to know, hey, that's the one I got. So you may want to turn off a couple just so you don't know. Maybe I did really well. Maybe I did really bad. So here's how you do that. In the watch app itself, if you scroll down, I'm running iOS 27, so it may look a little bit different. You might just have all your apps that you can access. I just have to hit this apps thing first. But I can scroll down here. I can find the sleep area and you can track your sleep with Apple Watch. So if you have more than one Apple Watch, you can actually turn this off for the one that you don't actually wear when you sleep, which is really nice because then that one isn't going, the alarm's not going off on that one if it's docked. Otherwise it will. So they'll both, and maybe you changed your alarm on your watch and you never paired with the other watch, that watch is still going to have the old alarm. Sadly, the alarm system and all that stuff isn't synced through iCloud, so the new watch doesn't get that. So just a warning, if you have more than one watch, that could be a pain, and you may want to turn off sleep tracking on the watch that you don't wear at night. That way both watches aren't going off at the same time, or if you change your alarm, the other one's not going off earlier or later than what you want it to go off. Also in here, you can also have the reminders to charge your watch. It's really nice to have that feature, but you also get your sleep notifications in here. And this is where you might want to change. So if you have a low sleep score, you can actually just remove it and not get that notification. So what I'd recommend and what I am going to start doing is I'm actually turning off a lot of these. But the reason why I'm checking off more than just one is because obviously if you don't get the notification, then you know you got a very low sleep score. So I just turned off 3. That way, maybe if I get a bad sleep, it could still have been okay. Like it may not have been a low or very low. So mentally, maybe that can help me just a little bit, and maybe it can help you as well. But if you would like to do all this on your watch itself, there's a few other controls I think you get on the watch. So basically go into settings, scroll all the way down until you find sleep. So I have it right here. And then you can turn on at wind down. So you can have the sleep focus automatically turn on at wind down. You can have the sleep screen. So this basically just says it simplifies your Apple Watch display to reduce distractions, which is nice. Show time. The time will be shown on the Apple Watch during sleep focus, which is also nice. Sleep tracking. So that can be turned on or off if you don't want to sleep track. You can have the charging reminders, which is always nice to have. Here's that sleep notifications. And as you can see, they've already sunk from my phone. So I just have the very high and the high notifications that I will get. And then you have the sleep apnea detection and the option to not using this watch for sleep tracking. So you have all that built in to the watch as well, so you can change the settings wherever you want. Now, one other tip that I used to use all the time and I don't anymore, but for some of you, it may be nice. You can also go in, and if you go in and you set theater mode, this will also turn off your screen. And if you use a third-party app, I'd highly recommend using theater mode when you go to sleep because it just turns off the screen. You don't have to worry about that third-party app. Nowadays, I just use Apple's to track my sleep, but third-party apps can do more than what Apple's does. Apple added a little bit of nap detection, but you have to nap for at least an hour, which obviously isn't the best length to nap. So if you use a way to nap and you want to use that same app for sleep tracking as well, the theater mode does a couple really cool things. And basically, one, it turns off your screen so you don't have it on when you're sleeping. But the other thing is if you need to access your flashlight, it automatically starts with the red mode. And I think sleep mode should do that as well. But as of right now, it doesn't. So hopefully Apple, maybe do something like this, because when you're sleeping and you need to get up and find something or just find your way to the bathroom or wherever you got to go, it's nice to have that flashlight. And especially if you have the Ultra and you use the little third party, it will still default to that red one, which is super nice at night. Cause then of course that blue light, all that kind of stuff, you're not getting that super bright light. You're getting just enough light to be able to move around. And so theater mode is a little nice tip to do that. But I'd love to hear from you. Are you sleep tracking with your Apple Watch? Do you have a tip that you would like to recommend? Leave it in the comments below. Or are you using a different device to sleep track? Let me know that as well. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.